Hi guys, welcome back to the Drive Live channel, and in today's video we're going to be talking about the best things about the Volvo D5 engine. Now, for those of you who don't know anything about Volvo at all, you'll be very familiar with the D5 engine. It was offered in sort of the first generation V70, or sorry, the second generation V70 onwards. It's come in multiple different forms. It's come in 163 horsepower form, 185, 205, 215. It's a very well used engine throughout the Volvo range. It's available on every car that they make, or was, until it was phased out in 2017. So yeah, I thought I'd talk about the best things about this engine and why I personally chose it. So the first one is the fact that it's a 5-cylinder diesel engine. Now, this is quite a rare configuration for a diesel engine. I think only Volkswagen really have done much with it back in the day in their old transporters. So to have something that not many other people have is quite nice. It also produces a gorgeous sound. For those of you that have driven a D5 Volvo, you know that this sound is lovely. Sort of like a deep, throaty, purposeful sound without sort of being outrageous. So it is quite a nice, unique sound you get from this engine. Next is going to be the reliability. The reliability point of view. Now, to be honest, guys, this is perhaps one of the most reliable Volvo engines you can buy. It is perhaps the most well-known reliable Volvo engine ever built, and that's just due to the fact that it's sort of over-engineered for the job. I mean, this one here is a 2.4 litre, producing 205 horsepower with a twin turbo on it. It does sort of 30 to 40 to the gallon round town, 50 on a run. So it's not by means the best performing engine or the most economical, but actually the engine is really well geared within its own tolerances to make it last pretty much forever. There's very few issues that you get with these engines, provided they're maintained correctly, and really the only ones that you see on the forums are sort of cam belt failures and things like that. There's very little actually that goes wrong with the engine internals itself, which makes it, which is perhaps why there's so many V70s, the P2 V70s, P3s, so many of them still going with hundreds and hundreds of thousands of miles on, is the fact that this engine is extremely robust. Now, number 3 for me, although I said it's not the most best performing engine, you do get a good set of performance from this engine. Despite the fact that it's really reliable, you also get over 200 brake in this generation, which was then increased up to 215 following the updates in 2014. Now, these cars are sort of the highest available D5s in terms of horsepower, but they go right back to 163. But each time they've released the D5 engine, it's always been nearly best in class or up there in terms of the performance. This car can travel from 0 to 60 in around 7 seconds. It's quite a big barge, so it just shows you the amount of torque this engine can produce. And that's the key thing that puts this engine above the others, is the sheer amount of torque. That, coupled with the noise, just gives it sort of quite a formidable feeling when you're driving. I'm not going to say that it's like the V8, because it's not, but it is, a brilliant engine to live with on a day-to-day basis. Number 4 is going to be how easy this engine is to work on. Now, if I lift this engine cover up here, it's transversely mounted, which means everything is right in front of you. You've got your fuel rails, your intake system, turbos at the back. Just a really engine to get to change things on, to do anything. And this is what I love about Volvos, to be honest, is the fact that they design these cars to be worked on. They don't design them and then think about that as an afterthought. So doing things yourself, if you're that way inclined, is really easy indeed. And in its construction, it's a fairly simple engine. Everything you can see is what it does, which is quite nice for perhaps beginner mechanics or DIYers like me. It just makes life easier. I mean, I've done all sorts on this engine. I've changed the coolant, oil changes, pretty much every service that you can do to it, and yeah, like I said, it's nothing that you need to worry about in terms of difficulty. And the best bit is, because it is so reliable, you don't find yourself in here very often. It's just doing the regular maintenance. Now number 5 is going to be the tunability. Now this is perhaps most appropriate on manual cars because unfortunately on this car, for example, the TF80SC transmission is fairly close to its limits with the stock setup. I think this is 430 Newton meters and the limit of that gearbox is 450, so you are limited by that. But the older generation Volvos and manual cars, they're easily tunable right up to sort of 300 brake horsepower with remaps and things like that. If you go onto the forums, you see it all the time, people that are getting silly power out of these engines, and these engines can take it. I mean, a simple remap, perhaps a free flowing exhaust and an air intake, you can boost horsepower very, very quickly. The internals are very robust and will take extra power, which is really nice for those of you that are into that sort of thing. So yeah, it's just a brief sort of overview of the best parts of the D5 engine. If I was going to recommend any engine to a Volvo potential buyer or of the P2, P1, P3 generation cars, I would definitely recommend the D5 all day long. Now if you want fuel economy or you're literally using it for a commuter car, then it might change, but as a car to daily drive, own and just enjoy, the D5 is the one for me. So yeah, like I said, thanks for watching. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe for plenty more Volvo content. Make sure you hit the notification bell so you don't miss anything else, and yeah, I'll see you in the next video. Cheers.